This time, it is my pleasure to call the October 2023 Borough Council meeting to order. Request that we all please stand and recite in unison our beloved Pledge of Allegiance, and we will follow that with a brief moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please be seated. Secretary Felix, let us call the roll.
Okay, Mr. Fuentes?
Here.
Mrs. Funk? Here. Mrs. Greenholt? Here. Mr. Greenholt?
Here.
Mr. Hegberg?
Here.
Mr. Kress? Mr. Lookenbill?
Here.
Mr. Ricart?
Here.
Mr. Rowland?
Here.
Dr. Rupp?
Here.
Solicitor Schultes?
Here.
Manager Lewis?
Here.
Mayor Whitman?
Here.
Secretary Felix? Junior Counsel Taya Prasad? Libby Houston? We have a quorum.
Thank you. There is no acknowledgement of executive session this evening, so we will move right into public comment. First of my two, I have Audrey Coppersmith. Audrey, come forward. Speak your mind.
Audrey Coppersmith, 412 Osage Drive. My first request would be for the council to reconsider the increase in the fees due to the circumstances of a number of borough residents with regards to the impact it's going to have on people that are especially on fixed incomes. And the increase in both taxes, sewer rates, water, and as well as trash will definitely have a negative impact on a lot of the residents that are homeowners in the borough, which seem to be accounting for much, much less than the overall borough, since we're down to about 40% as homeowners that are paying basically for 100% of a lot of the things that are here at the borough. We know that a number of you that are here on the council, as well as staff, were not part of the influx of all the expenses and the long-term debt that was created in the borough, but we would ask that you reconsider with regards to those fee increases at this time, or at least a compilation of all of them, if maybe some can be taken out and saved for another time. The second thing I'd like to address is having to do with something I said last week, with the deadline rapidly approaching for December 27th for the borough to act on plans with regards to CT5, the 128-unit apartment complex, that is being proposed along both sides of the rail trail near Cherry Tree Court. For the record, as of tonight, October 25th, 2023, is anyone on this borough council or staff aware of or in receipt of any updated or revised CT5 preliminary development plans or any other updated CT5 development plans? If so, when will these plans be available for community review and input before any vote is taken by any committee or the council? Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have, I'm sorry, and there were three, I was missing one. So number 2 of 3 will be Art Becker.
Good evening, Art Becker, 529 Carlisle Street, Hanover. So on September 27th at the council meeting, another attorney from my office, Attorney Zerfing, inquired as to whether the $9,000 expense for the rental property registration inspection program was part of the 2023 budget, and if not, whether it was authorized by Borough Council before the contract was signed on April 28th, 2023. So we now know that the $9,000 expenditure was not part of the 2023 budget, and that the contract was signed before there was approval by council. This violated the procurement contracts and purchasing policy adopted by the borough on September 28th, 2022. We also believe it violated the Sunshine Act. So someone on council, we do not know who, authorized and directed Mr. Miller to sign the contract without a public meeting, without a vote, without any opportunity for the public to discuss the scope of the survey, the questions in the survey, or anything about the survey, or object to it. Now, tonight, those responsible for violating the Sunshine Act are trying to cover their tracks. They're covering their tracks because they are trying to get this approved tonight through a consent agenda by lumping all of the expenses from item 8A through E into one vote. I would ask that someone make a motion to separate 8C from the consent agenda and require a separate vote on that issue alone and end this issue tonight. In order for someone withstanding to bring a Sunshine Act violation, we need to know who in Borough Council directed Mr. Miller to sign that contract. We're concerned that perhaps a few individuals are pushing this behind the scenes. 15 to 20 meetings ago, Mr. Hegberg made a motion to adopt a rental unit and inspection ordinance. Ms. Rupp, who was also supporting this, wouldn't second that motion. We don't have an ordinance to discuss. We don't know what the borough wants to inspect. We don't know how often. We don't know the cost. The prior person that just presented to you is concerned about taxes, costs to residents. What's this going to cost? How is this going to affect the cost of what the residents have to pay in taxes? This is an enormous program. We don't even know what the program is. How can we have a survey asking about this ordinance when we don't have an ordinance? Wouldn't one of the first questions you want to ask is, hey, do you want this ordinance? And B, do you want to pay the costs of the ordinance? How can we discuss what to put in a survey if you don't have any of this information? So this, I submit, is a solution in search of a problem. We talked about this before. The landlords don't want it. The tenants don't want it except for a handful that have been here. We don't know what it's going to cost. It's going to cost the residents a lot of money, we believe. Landlords are considering adding what they're calling now a RUP inspection fee in response to Councilwoman Rupp's and Councilman Hegberg's position that these inspections should go forward. I think the landlords are going to start putting rents up $100 a year for an inspection fee, or increase it by $100 to cover these inspections. You have 3,000 rental units in the borough. If every tenant pays an additional $100 a year, that's $300,000 to the tenants. I doubt the tenants want to pay that. But the landlords aren't going to eat the cost of having to meet with people repeatedly, or at least once a year, especially the larger ones. They have to hire people to do that. We need to know, in order to bring the Sunshine Act violation, who on Borough Council authorized Mr. Miller to sign this contract. This is not about your borough manager. She had nothing to do with this. She did not sign this back in April. This is not about Mr. Miller. He was doing what he was told. We want to know who on council directed this. In the interest of transparency, we asked this last week. We asked it in September. I doubt we'll get an answer. We've already referred this matter to the York County District Attorney's Office and asked that they open a criminal investigation, because we can't figure out who it is, and we can't bring a Sunshine Act violation unless we know. I'm going to once again ask you to separate this item 8C from the consent agenda, vote on it separately, and end this issue tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Becker. Lastly, we have Robert Holt.
I'm here tonight because, not so much because this is going to impact me, but it's going to impact people I've heard from. And this is these increases in the fees and the property tax all in one fell swoop in 1 year. It comes to, using the fixed numbers and the ordinances, the road ordinances and such, it comes to over $200, just based on the fixed fees. There's some flex fees there and there. I think, first off, there should be some more transparency in how these rates are publicized. There should be one chart that makes it easy for people to understand, instead of having to dig through on the site the different ordinances. One chart says this year it's going to be this, next year it's going to be that. Just make it easy for folks to understand what the differences they're going to be paying. And I believe that, as a good politician said, you should never let a good crisis go to waste. And you face a financial issue, and here's a chance to pile on and take advantage of a situation. I wouldn't be a bit surprised, a few years down the road, you see a deficit go to a surplus, and everybody's going to be happy. And probably the biggest reason I'm here is because it was said that there were no complaints heard last year. And I'm here just to let you know that there was somebody who was listening and watching, and they did complain. So that can't be said next year. And I'll leave it at that. I thank you for your time. I think, in the context of the survey that was just brought up, I think there's a basic flaw in that survey plan, because according to the U.S. Census, 20% of the households in this community do not have an internet service. And another 15%, of that 15% don't even own a computer. I know some of those people. And I think you need to reconsider how you're going to do that survey, if indeed you're going to do it. And I thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Holt. We'll close the in-room public public comment portion of the meeting. And I'll ask community media to assist. Is there anyone looking to share online?
If you're joining us via Zoom, you can unmute yourself if you'd like to address council.
No, thank you. I was just listening in for the evening.
Okay. Seeing no one wanting to comment at this time, I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting. And before moving into item 6 on the agenda, our solicitor has a prepared response to some of the issues that I believe had been brought up at last week's Finance Committee meeting. Solicitor Schultes.
Thank you. So in response to the public comments that have been raised in past meetings by Attorney Becker and Attorney Surfing, I have the following statement to make. The idea of a borough-wide rental registration and rental inspection ordinance has been raised a number of times over the past few years. Each time a proposed ordinance was advanced, there has been an honest and open public debate among borough council, landlords, and tenants regarding the need for and the efficacy of a rental registration inspection ordinance. In early 2023, following the most recent rental inspection registration ordinance proposal, the Public Safety Committee proposed conducting a professional public survey to objectively gauge public opinion on the need for the ordinance. Borough Council, representative landlords, and tenants supported conducting a public survey on the issue. Borough staff then selected Lebson Research Group, who provided a proposal for the work. At the borough's Finance and Personnel Committee meetings in February, March, and then in April of 2023, Council publicly discussed the survey and the survey methodology. Following the April 19, 2023 meeting, believing that Council had authorized the engagement of Lebson, the Lebson contract was signed by Chief Code Enforcement Officer Miller at the direction of Manager Lewis on April 28, 2023. It is acknowledged that Council did not explicitly approve the contract, but Council did so implicitly from February through April of 2023, and then again from April through August of 2023, as the survey was being finalized. Council took steps to formally ratify the contract on October 18, and it is on the agenda tonight. Funding for the survey was authorized from the $105,000 in money allocated to Code Enforcement professional services managed by the Department of Planning and Engineering in the 2023 council-approved budget under line item 01.413.003.003.100.000. Throughout the process, the Borough Council carefully, deliberatively, and publicly engaged the public on the rental registration and inspection ordinance issue, all in accordance with the Sunshine Act, and the borough staff consistently followed council's publicly expressed direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Solicitor Shoulders. With that, we will move into, excuse me, sir, public comment is closed. At this time, we will be moving into agenda item 6,
You're not asking.
that being the Code Enforcement Oath of Office. Mayor Whitman, thank you. Sir, you're out of order. We're not speaking.
Throw me out because I want to ask a question about what it is?
I assume if you want to continue, I guess, interjecting yourself in a closed meeting.
Open and honest conversation.
Mayor Whitman?
Now you're saying I can't talk. Was it that?
Public
way the
comment
whole
portion is closed, sir. We have another one at the end of the
entire year
meeting.
You stopped me from talking about this, and now you're doing it again tonight, just so everyone's clear. If you have nothing to hide, let's have a conversation. Leave it at that.
Mayor Whitman, oath of office, please.
Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, Karrie Brinson, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and that I will not
and that I will not
knowingly receive,
knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money
any money
or other valuable thing
or other valuable thing
for the performance
for the performance
or non-performance
or non-performance
of any active duty
of any active duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation
other than the compensation
afforded by law.
afforded by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
discharge my duty
discharge my duty
as a code enforcement officer
as a Code Enforcement officer
for the Borough of Hanover
for the Borough of Hanover
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
as long as
I
I am an employee
am an employee
of the Borough of Hanover,
of the Borough of Hanover,
York County,
York County,
in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Congratulations,
Thank
you are
you.
official. You want us to come over this way so you
No,
can
you're-
carry on?
No, we're waiting on you.
Those copies, please. And one more. Dory, one of these is for her to keep, correct?
Yeah, but I wanted to put the seal on it. I wanted to
Okay.
put your mayor's seal on it for her.
Well, she'll get it to you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being accomplished, we will move into agenda item 7, that being a presentation on comprehensive parks and rec plan from Toole Recreation.
Just so everyone is aware, Toole Recreation, Ann Toole and Andy Mears are going to present this evening the comprehensive plan that you will be receiving a copy of once it's approved by DCNR. You will also have time between now and then to weigh in if you have any questions or concerns on the plan document itself. It'll be sent to everyone. So this is a synopsis. Ann, Andy?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for having us again. Ready?
You grab you a chair?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm good. It worked when I was sitting down.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Pardon me? Oh.
You want to do a quick intro or?
Oh, yeah. I'm Ann Toole. I am the Parks and Recreation, I'm a certified Parks and Recreation professional. I've had the privilege and honor of working with you for about 2 years now. We hit it right at COVID. So it's been a very exciting time meeting with all of you, and through the robust public outreach process that we did, hundreds of your citizens. So everything that you're going to hear tonight, we've crafted based on what we heard from the community and our ideas on what will take you to where you want to be in Hanover Borough.
And I'm Andy Mears. I'm a landscape architect, work closely with Ann. She looks at the big picture, and I kind of look at some of the nuts and bolts stuff, so we complement each other, and I think we have a good plan here. The last time we were here, we kind of hit some high notes of some of the key things we hope to get out of the plan. So tonight we want to get into the key recommendations. It's like 180-page documents. I'm sure you guys will have fun going through it, but I think it really does set up exactly what we heard, as Ann said, from the community. The advisory committee were made up of these 11 folks here, which, as Ann said, because of COVID, stretched out. So we met many more times than we needed to, but they really kept us on track and led to these goals that we're going to present tonight. You saw this graphic before at the public meetings. We talked about all the things going on in Hanover, and we wanted to harness that energy and look at some of those initiatives and see where parks overlap, looked at these projects and the recommendations more in a multifaceted way so you can maximize your grants and things like that. So a big focus of the plan when you get to see it is that we're looking at parks first, your streetscapes, your square. If they're looked at as parks and defined that way, we can look at them and have those multi-pronged benefits. So there was a lot from the community and a lot of moving parts, a lot of different things. And this vision statement for the plan
Go to the next slide. It's easier to read.
is a little long, but it does capture everything because, you know, we worked with the study committee. There was a lot of different opinions, but I'll just read it. And that's, you know, in 10 years, Hanover Borough envisions being a vibrant gem nestled in the heart of Pennsylvania. Our community's most precious treasures will be our expansive network of parks, connected trails, extraordinary conservation lands, and an abundance of recreational pursuits. These assets will stand as the cornerstone of our town, drawing in residents, visitors, and businesses, propelling forward our thriving economy, and establishing an unparalleled quality of life that others will envy. So, how did we get to that, and how did we get to the plan? It's really by everything we heard from everyone. You know, we were at Snacktown. We did one-on-one interviews, key person interviews, focus groups. We looked at a lot of the public participation that was done as part of other projects and other initiatives. We had our own public meetings that some of you guys attended. So we harnessed all of that into 7 key guiding principles, if you will. Number 1, to continue and improve our parks. Some of the neighborhood parks, we're looking at them more of town parks. You know, they need some love. People wanted to use them, but some of them definitely are in need of some improvement. And you'll see in the plan, for each park, we laid out some general recommendations for some of the parks that we thought could be heightened, like Mountfield, and I'll talk about that in a little while. We looked at those as what could they really be. Provide more trails, safe connections to community destinations, optimize the reservoirs for conservation and outdoor recreation with a wide range of possibilities. this was something that, through the process, just kind of came to the forefront. It was never really discussed much at the beginning of the project, but the significance of it as we went along, more people we talked to, it really came to the forefront and really is highlighted in the plan. Number 4, you guys know all about, make the downtown a lively public space. We're saying the same thing that lots of others have said. The difference in what we're looking at there is that we're also looking at the square as a park, not just a streetscape, not just a place to be, or just an economic driver. It's also a park, and again, it brings all of that together. Provide more programs for people of all ages, especially kids. With all the borough that's going on in the borough, and with everything your staff is doing, they're doing a lot. So limited capacity to carry forward everything that's going on, and we made some direct recommendations as a result of that. Limited recognition that parks, trails, recreation, and open space are economic drivers. They are. I don't know how else to say it, but we need to promote that and recognize that.
So how do we get there? Well, as back to an earlier slide, we're building on success. We didn't have to start from scratch here. You're all doing a lot. You have a lot of success, a lot of achievements, and a lot of vision to move forward. So we wanted to focus our recommendations on harnessing all of the ideas and the visions you have for all the wonderful plans that you have undertaken to show high visibility results in the community. So, thanks. So what our most important recommendation here is how to organize for success, is that what we have found is an outstanding, professional, passionate staff. We do a lot of plans, and your management team really stands out here. They do way more than I think is humanly possible, and because they are driven a lot to do parks, recreation, trails, and open space, it takes away from what their real responsibilities are. So we're recommending that you hire a Parks and Recreation Director. What we see nationwide is that Parks and Recreation Directors, as you'll hear in our theme, is an investment, not a cost. A really good Parks and Recreation Director will recover some of the cost of investing in their salary and benefits through more programs which your community wants, partnerships, sponsorships, grants, gifts, donations, lots of different revenue sources. You'll see cost recovery anywhere from 26 to 70% of what you put in for that position. We are suggesting the Hanover Borough Implementation Team, so that you can look at all of the recommendations. If you remember back earlier in the presentation where we showed the flower with Parks and Recreation as the center, almost all of your plans have the common denominator of parks, recreation, open space, and trails. So the idea behind the implementation committee is to get everyone together who has an interest in this, 2 borough council people, borough manager, the planning and zoning director, AJ as the public works director, and look at all of these things together and pursue some of the new federal and state money that's coming out all the time. It's coming out all the time. So if you have that team together, it would be harnessed looking at everything. We're recommending that you establish the Hanover Parks Conservancy. This is the first time we've ever made that recommendation because your borough is unique and special in having a recreation fund. Usually you have to find a way to get that fund before you could establish a conservancy. You already have it. So what a conservancy does is a private nonprofit organization that's essentially a fundraiser, an advocate for moving all of your wishes forward. We're recommending that you convene a discussion about what level of investment you want to put into implementing this plan and the recommendations that you are seeing in the plan. If you have that discussion and decide over the next 3, 5, 7, or 10 years what your level of investment is, then your implementation team has a lot to work with in pursuing foundation money, grants. They know what they have to work with. It's not every year we have to figure out how much are we going to put in. But if you have that long-term idea of what you do want to invest, you'll get way more done and you'll be able to leverage that money. We are also recommending that you adopt some policies. One on naming your facilities. We have, as you'll hear from Andy in a few minutes, there are some facilities that would benefit from renaming. That's coming from the community in particular. We're recommending a revenue policy where you set some guidance for pricing, what you're charging for things. And that would include making provisions for those who need help in participating in events and programs and things like that. But your cost recovery is really low now. You're at, I think it's less than 5%. You should be at least at 30% in generating funds, and that's why you need your Park and Rec director. But you need a policy to set forth on that. The big recommendation here is to recommend in the policy line updating your saldo. And again, here's where Hanover Borough shines. The nationwide average of parks and recreation is about 10 acres of parkland per thousand. In this borough, we have 150 acres of land per thousand because you have these wonderful conservation lands. That's one takeaway that we have from this whole project is that you are the community of the future. You have a walkable, soon-to-be bikeable community, and in 15 minutes, you're in some of the finest conservation lands in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Who has that? Hanover Borough has that. So if we could update the saldo, that translates into the mandatory dedication of parkland or fees in lieu of dedication of parkland. So the fees in lieu translate into the value of 150 acres of parkland per 1,000 people. We've done a lot of research on this, and we believe that you will be a statewide model because your parkland standard is not only based on your town parks, but your conservation areas. It's a big deal. So, okay. Oh, I think we go.
All right, so continue to work on conservation and outdoor recreation of Shepherd Myers and Long Arm. I mean, you guys have already invested in it. You have connectivity throughout the borough already. 88% of it is walkable, but we're looking at, you have other studies looking at how it can be more bikeable. We have the trolley trail coming in on one end. We got on the other end looking to get to Gettysburg. But this is a tremendous resource that is within, 9 minutes by driving, 20 minutes of biking. There's no way to get there, but you have large land holdings between there. Boiling Springs, South Middleton Township, they've worked with all their farmers and secured easements and have tapped into the Appalachian trails. People come into Boiling Town. There's plenty of examples of how easements can be used as instruments to make those connections. And you have that right here. Not only is it, your water resource, but people are already recreating there. So what should that recreation be? What should it look like? We think a master plan needs to be done to tell you that. It could be more focused on resource-based recreation, or it could be more economic based. I know there was some ideas floated by that looked at the economic viability of that, but the master plan would tell you what your community wants and what that should look like, because it could go a lot of different ways. But the bottom line is it's a tremendous resource that is very close and should be tied into everything else that you have going on. Black Rock is a little different animal, and certainly we don't want to tie those two master plans together because they're different resources, but they could end up working together. While it's a landfill, close to home example here, Solid Waste Authority owns the landfill in the southern end of the county. When I worked on that 25 years ago, never did I think in my wildest imagination that they would have a solar array there. We basically put in a ball field, some picnic areas, and a pavilion. The rest of it couldn't be developed for obvious reasons. So we planted it. It was meadow. It's grown into one of a big birding area. No one saw that coming years later. So with all the birding and everything that happens there at the reservoir, that could be an option. But again, it could be a BMX. It could be a lot of different things. We think a separate master plan. So we're recommending 2 master plans be completed to define what the ultimate uses of those resources would be. Continue improvements. You have parks in different states of what's going on. Work is being done now. Some have been completed addressing stormwater issues and others. We think these 2 parks, Mouthfield and West Hanover Street Park, I don't think they need a master plan, but they need to be improved. There's a lot more opportunity there. West Hanover certainly tie back to the historic events that happened there, rename it. The loop trail needs completed, maybe a themed playground that brings that all together. Mouthfield is your entrance from the trolley trail. I was surprised. I mean, I thought it was very well maintained, but until the public, until the study committee said, well, it's not a real park. I mean, I had to ask 10 times, what does that really mean? And I think what people were getting at is there's lots of individual facilities there. People come, they go, but there's no reason to stay there past what you're doing. So they're looking for those community gathering spaces, trees, vegetation, beauty, to make it a nice entrance from the trail, a gateway park, if you will. So those are some of the things that can happen there to elevate that park. And then certainly looking at the square as a downtown park and having that designation and view it that way and tie it into everything else that was proposed. You also have the alleyway system that you have really an outer ring with the 4 alleys, and then you have the inner ring, which is really the core of the square. You already have partners that are looking at some of these improvements. So moving ahead, I mean, if you did Bank Alley and Doss Alley, you're halfway there with just those 2, and you already have temporary activities that are happening there already. So you'd be halfway there with trying to move ahead with some of those improvements.
So what is very exciting here is what Andy was talking about last, is the partnerships. You have such strong and influential partners that are already here. One day, for the better part of a day, we had a group sitting right in this room of all the key partners, all pitching in about how do we build on this success. You have YCEA, you have Main Street Hanover, you have the school district, you have York County, you have the trail, you have York County Rail Trail Authority. You're just rich with partnerships, and you can't do this alone. So you're perfectly positioned to consider the next part of our recommendations. That this is the cost part of it. And what we are recommending here is that we hope that we can switch the mindset from parks being a cost to parks being an economic driver. And we have one of the perfect examples in the whole state here of the rail trail. The latest economic study from the rail trail shows a $4 million annual economic investment that in the area where the rail trails are. You would see the same thing here. We know that parks, trails, recreation facilities, and lots to do makes a difference on businesses locating here, bringing employees here, bringing workers here, new residents. When we did Snacktown, that was the strong message we heard. Lots of millennials and younger people moving here because it's the community of the future. It's walkable, bikeable, and near conservation areas. So when we talk about these costs, that we're actually talking about, thinking about this as investment. not necessarily a price tag. All of the prices that we have on here, grants are possible to help support what your level of investment is. So we're looking at 2 to 4 million for Malfield and the West Hanover Street improvements. The Reservoir Park Master Plan could come in at $130,000 to $150,000. The Black Rock Master Plan, $50,000 to $70,000. The town park improvements over 12 years, that would be about $2 to $4 million. Now, what is a town park? What the town parks are your 12 parks that actually form a ring in Hanover Borough, and what we're recommending is that they all connect. So what you would have in essence is an emerald necklace of parks, just like Boston has the emerald necklace. You conspicuously have that. So that revitalizing all of those 12 parks would be over 10 years, and you could figure out where you want to do that, where and when. Doss Alley is a business partnership. And then the Park and Rec Director is the $70,000 to $85,000 annually with benefits too. And that's the one we, again, talk about an investment to generate the kinds of private financing that is possible through the Conservancy, through grants, gifts, donations, program fees and charges, things like that. And so we're recommending that you work on phasing in the level of investment. You're at a relatively low per capita investment and a low percentage of your operating budget compared to the national and state averages investment there. So we're not saying to jump over the canyon in one fell swoop in phasing in future investment, but to kind of take steps around so that you get there and you leverage that investment with the other sources of funding that we've referred to through the Conservancy and Park and Rec Director. So they're the recommendations in a nutshell coming from the public and what we see your opportunities as. So we would welcome the questions that you have, comments, questions. Yes.
On the 2 master plans that you're proposing or recommending, will those or does the budget include economic revenue analysis?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because of the nature of those parks, the 2 things, and you'll see in the report, it has to have an economic development component.
Right.
And it has to have a stewardship component, because that is your main resource and the value of that. So we want to make sure there's a stewardship plan in there that protects first and foremost your water resource.
Okay, my second question is, do you recommend how or if we coordinate with Carroll County or Maryland?
Oh, most deaf. Any.
But it's in the report.
Oh, it is now, no, but it
Okay.
will be.
I mean, we do have 400 acres in Maryland.
Yes.
And then
right.
the landfill abuts
Yes.
Carroll, Lineborough.
Right.
So,
I'm glad that you brought that up. Thank you very much, because the partnerships and the collaboration is key, and we didn't specifically name Carroll County, although we did the outreach there, but we'll go back and.
and they got money too.
Yeah, Maryland does, yeah,
And it helps you get money when you
Yeah.
have partnerships.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. What other questions or comments?
I don't have a question, but I just appreciate the time you took to get our citizens involved. I know this isn't just your idea. It's an idea that was a compilation of ideas that you got from the public. And I know many people have attended those meetings, have appreciated it. And I don't think they want instantaneous results, but I know they're looking for us to do something. So I appreciate you said it's a 5 to 10 year plan.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
Look forward to reading it all.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, with that, we will move into agenda item 8. I believe there is some interest in modifying the consent agenda. Councilor Luckenbill?
Make a motion to approve that.
I'm sorry,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
okay, yeah, I'm handling, there was I believe, an interest in maybe making a pre-motion to remove one of the agenda
Yeah, I was hoping
items.
that we could do C separately.
I'll second that.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you because I was distracted. Your motion again? To remove?
To do C separately.
Okay. Counselor
I'll second
Fuentes. Let me handle that first. All in favor of the motion to remove agenda item C from the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. You'll now make the motion, Dr. Rupp,
Make a motion for the rest of the consent agenda.
remainder of the consent agenda minus consent agenda item C. Is there a second for that?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda passes minus, again, agenda item C. Is there interest in discussing consent agenda item C separately and voting at this time?
I'm in favor of it, Bill.
I would need a motion to do that, sorry.
So motion?
You'll make the motion?
Sure, I will.
To approve what would be ratify the contract with the third party. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a second? Is there discussion?
Well, I mean, I'm confused. What the motion on the floor is?
To vote for the removed consent agenda item C.
In the consent agenda. Yes.
Okay, I thought we already approved that.
Nope. It was removed from the consent agenda. Now it's been moved to vote on it separately as a separate item.
Got it.
I have a motion and a second, so,
Right.
okay, that was your question. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll-
Well, yeah, I'm
Okay.
just a little confused. Is there an issue with this that we haven't resolved with Mr. Becker? I mean, are we moving ahead with something that we shouldn't? Or is this just saying, yes, I'm going to approve the contract with the third party for the consulting services? I mean, is there anything that we're,
I have no knowledge other than that it's just there was a consensus and vote to handle it separately. Counselor Lookenbill, do you want to address her?
Yeah, I just thought there was a lot of people that complaining about it, spending money for another fund that thought maybe we could do without.
Do you want to speak to it, Counselor Fuentes?
I think at this point, you know, as we proceed here and we're looking at our budget and everything, we need to start cutting the crust a little bit. We need, like, any extra costs, we need to, you know, really look at what we're spending and where we're getting with that.
Okay. Anyone else? Discussion?
The only
Councilor
thing that
Falk?
I'm going to say here is that we have been working on this for how long? And that we hired the consultant.
We haven't yet.
Yes, we have.
Oh, have we?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
see, that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing.
And the thing is that we had a program that is operational to pay for this survey. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is taken care of, and it's not going to come out of the future pocketbooks of the taxpayer.
Correct.
And I would like to see this come to a fruitful end for everybody, because we have really hung on this way too long.
I agree.
So we're going to have to come to some type of terms, and I'd love to see it happen tonight.
And the survey was at the request of the
Absolutely.
public hearings.
Absolutely.
Public meetings, I should
Yep.
say.
You're right, Chuck.
Any other discussion on this side?
You know, all those people.
Final discussion on this side? Seeing none, I will call for the question. All in favor of the motion, that being to ratify approval of contract with third party as written in, again, the consent agenda, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
Should we do a roll call?
Yeah, still
Good
roll
idea.
call. It seems like it's going to be close enough.
Yeah, we could change it. I'm not sure about this.
This has been going on, and nobody would approve the
Okay, those in
inspection.
favor of
Survey.
ratifying the contract with Lepson Research Group or not, say yes or no. Dr. Rupp?
Yes.
Mr. Ricart?
Yes.
Mr. Greenholt?
No.
Mr. Lookenbill?
No.
Mr. Fuentes?
Nope.
Mr. Hegberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Funk?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
No.
Mrs. Greenholt?
No.
Okay, we have 5 that are not in favor of ratifying the contract and 4 that are, so the motion failed to pass.
Fails to pass. Okay. With that, we will move on to page 2 of the agenda, that being Council Workshop, Finance and Personnel Committee. Vice President Rowland, I think you have a few things to ask for there.
There we go. Item number 1, consider motion to approve Resolution 1381, establishing the salary for the Guthrie Memorial Library Director, please.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
One opposed? Any others? Motion carries.
Item 2, consideration of motion to approve Resolution 1382, establishing the salary for the Guthrie Memorial Library Fundraising and Development Manager.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the consideration signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
No.
No.
Okay. Can I have a show of nay hands? I got 1,
Nay.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, I need to write this down, so can we
Okay,
just do a roll call, is that right?
We can. I can give them to you, though.
Okay, we'll go ahead then.
There's, the nays on this side were Counselor Greenholt,
Yeah. Vote
Counselor
green.
Greenholt, Counselor Funk,
Yeah.
and on this side, Counselor Lookenbill, Counselor Fuentes.
Didn't we have 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, the nays have it, so it does not pass.
Wait a
I'll let
minute.
her get caught up.
Bill, we've already hired this individual. Council approved our hiring this individual.
Yes.
Say no.
She is working for us. She's currently working for us.
We
This is
approved
simply
it.
putting
How do
her
we go
salary
back?
on the salary
I don't know.
schedule.
I voted no all the way through.
You
Then why is
did.
it on the agenda?
Because you have to change the salary,
Oh, well, then I'm for that.
the salary resolution has to be adjusted to allow for this person that you voted to approve to hire.
So we're approving salary.
The salary has to be, we already hired her at the salary that we had approved when you all met. And we can pull those minutes for you if you need those minutes. This was all discussed previously. I'm sorry to interrupt the proceedings,
I mean, I voted no every
You're
time.
perfectly in
Chairman,
order.
but
You're perfectly in order.
the salary's $50,000.
Thank you.
So it's simply
I would add
adding
to
that.
Margie, that she comes pretty highly qualified. She remember her certifications in getting money for the previous employer.
Yeah, I know, but I personally voted no the whole way through, and I'm still going to say no, okay? All right.
But the matter, if I could try to clarify this, the matter is now really adopting the salary resolution for someone that we have hired
Yep.
as council.
At that salary.
At that salary. I guess the only confusing part, and I'm on that list, if we hired her at that salary, why are we doing it again?
There we go.
So I believe, as has been practice, you hire the individuals, the position and the salary for the position is approved. Then we engage in hiring. We hire someone. Once we have someone hired, we don't know if we're going to get someone or not, so we don't put it on the salary resolution. Once the person is hired,
We add it to the
we add
salary
it to the
resolution?
salary resolution.
Okay, so this is
And that's
a,
been past practice. It's how.
this is for, to be clear, an individual who has been hired.
Yeah.
We agreed to the
Understand
rate.
it. I understand it, Bill, but I said no the whole way through, and I'm still saying no.
Can I have a motion to reopen the issue and?
So
call the
moved.
question? Thank you, sir.
I'll second that.
There is a second. Okay, so this time we are voting to reinforce what we've already done.
Right.
And you know the rest of the wording. I'll call that question. All in favor signify by saying aye. If I could just have a show of hands, I need 5.
Aye.
Possible. 1, 2, this side.
Wait,
3, 4.
I gotta write these down.
5. Okay, so we have 5 fours, Counselor Rupp, Counselor Rowland, Counselor Fuentes, Counselor Ricart, Counselor Hegberg.
Brian.
Are the nays the remainder of council? Please raise your hand if you are a nay. Councilor Lookenbill, and 1, 2, 3 on this side. The yeas now have it 5-4. The motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Someday I'm going to write a book. Back to you, Councilor Rowland.
Okay.
Well, there was enough to vote.
Item
Three.
3. Consideration of a motion to approve 1383, establishing the borough sewer rates effective January 1 of '24. Single file, no pushing.
Any seconds?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion required? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
No.
1 nay? Motion carries. Councilor Rowland?
Okay, item 4, consideration of a motion to approve 1384, revising the schedule of fees for permits, licenses, and services provided by the borough.
Pulling teeth tonight.
I'll second that again.
Thank you, Councilor Rupp. Is there a discussion needed? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
No.
No.
I'm hearing multiple no's on this side, so can I have the,
I can't hardly get
I'm
these
going to get
things.
you the votes here. Relax. The nays on this side, please raise your hand. Councilors Hegberg, 1 Greenholt, and Councilor Funk.
Scary saying no.
Are the nays on this side, please?
Spend money.
No nays on this side.
So we only have Hegberg, Carol, Greenholt, and Counselor Funk as names?
Yes.
Is that
Correct.
how you want it?
And to be fair, all our other councilors not named as a nay did vote in the affirmative, as in for the
So we
motion.
have 6-3.
Motion passes 6-3. Councilor Rowland, back to you.
Thank you. Item 5, consideration of a motion to approve the advertisement of an ordinance establishing in-borough water rates for 2024.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion needed? I'll call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. By show of hands, show the opposition. 1, Councilor Hegberg. Any on this side?
Agree with it first.
Motion passes. Thank you. Councilor
All
Rowland.
right, item 6, consideration of a motion to approve the advertisement of an ordinance levying taxes for fiscal year 2024 at a rate of 6.37 mils, which I believe is an increase of 0.24, 23, 0.28, pardon me. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Discussion? We are going to do a roll call on this one, just because we can. Secretary Felix, sit back and take a breath. Oh, you.
Okay, in favor of advertising the ordinance levying taxes for 2024, Dr. Rupp,
Yes.
Mr. Ricart,
For.
Mr. Greenholt,
Yes.
Mr. Luckenbill,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes,
Yes.
Mr. Hegberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Funk,
Yes.
Mr. Rowland,
Yes.
Mrs. Greenholt.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 9-0.
Okay. Thank you for that one, gang.
Okay,
Councilor
item-
Rowland, one more.
So, item 7, consideration of motion to approve a temporary loan from the general fund to the water fund in the amount of $1.5 million.
So motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Councilor Rowland. You're relieved of your duties, and we'll transition to Councilor Rupp for
Got a
public
big one
safety.
coming up here,
Hopefully
Barb.
this one will be easy. Consideration of a motion to approve ordinance number 2344 to eliminate the allowance of open burning and the disposal of hot coals from charcoal grills in public parks.
I'm definitely against that.
I need a second before you can
I'll
say
make
that.
a second.
Okay. Now you, any discussion?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Okay.
In our public parks, where you go out and, now, they're not going to camp there, but they're
Darlene,
gonna
this
have-
has been something, the fires have been illegal for like 20 years. This is just catching up an out-of-date ordinance.
We don't have any cooking in any of the, like, mouth,
No.
really?
No.
AJ, is that correct?
Right.
So we're just kind of catching
For how
up
long?
Catching up.
the charcoal ordinance with the,
The open burning.
that.
We discussed in the Public Safety Committee, the open burning
Yeah.
through Chief Clauser. This catches that rule up with that ordinance now for the borough.
Are we gonna have people that are gonna be upset because they can't cook a hot dog?
We have not had that for
Haven't.
years.
So it has been totally nil
Correct,
for years, and we're just now catching up?
correct.
Okay, I'm stepping back. I'll agree with the rest of you.
So this is ordinance catching up with policy, it sounds like. All right, any other discussion? We are going to do the hot dog ordinance via roll call vote, as I'm calling it.
Dr. Rupp,
Yes.
Mr. Ricart,
4.
Mr. Greenholt,
Yes.
Mr. Luckenbill,
Yes.
Mr. Fuentes,
Yes.
Mr. Hegberg,
Yes.
Mrs. Funk,
I guess if I have to, yes.
Mr. Rowland,
Can we not pull this out to a special committee and, no, I'm in favor. I'm being a jerk.
Mrs. Greenholt.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0.
Thank you all. Madam Mayor, take us away to a place far from here right now.
All right, my highlights for September. September 3rd, I presented a proclamation to start the Hanover Chili Cook-Off. This well-attended event consisted, of course, with lots of chili tasting and competition, live bands, hot pepper eating contests, cornhole tournament, play area for children, and fun for everyone, but no hot dog cooking. Congratulations to the Hanover Exchange Club on their second year of organizing this community event in which proceeds go to supporting local charities. September 14th, the Burns Health Education Center held a tour for government officials of their newly renovated and expanded facility. They offer customized programs for preschool through high school and evening classes for families too. The center has been modernized, but they still have the healthy and diseased examples of cadaver brains, hearts, and lungs that I saw when I used to chaperone field trips to the Burns Health Center located in York, Pennsylvania. They have a passion for healthy communities and a culture that embraces creativity and fun while seeking and sharing knowledge. September 16th, the Hanover Area Chamber of Commerce held the 6th Annual Snacktown Brewfest. It was a beautiful day with awesome music and plenty of cold beer to sample from local breweries as well as breweries from all over. September 22nd, I attended the York County SPCA Community Leadership Breakfast. After the panel discussion, Stephen Martinez, the passionate executive director, gave a tour of the facility and spoke to all the remarkable services they offer, from the life-saving surgeries, the pet food pantry, spay-neuter clinic, housing for pets of domestic abuse victims, investigation and prosecution of animal cruelty offenders, and of course, adoptions. The York County SPCA has achieved a 95% save rate as they strive to realize their goal of every pet that comes through their door having the best chance at a live, healthy outcome. Then I had meetings throughout the month of the 250th Committee, Chili Cook-Off wrap-up, and the Borough Budget and Department presentations. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow night is the Halloween Parade. And I also, she's not here this evening, but one of our junior council girls was in the Miss Hanover Area pageant last Monday evening, and she was, I think, the second runner-up. So, congratulations to her.
Both those girls are working at the concession stand at the thing, the Hanover.
Bonfire.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember the word. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right.
All righty, that will move us into the final public comment. Is there anyone in the room? Go ahead, sir, come forward.
It'll be a lot better this time than the last time. I got a concern. My name is Martin Smith Jr.
I'm sorry, we know you, but we need your name and address at the beginning.
Martin Smith Jr., 208 York Street.
Thank you.
I don't believe you all understand the people of the Hanover Borough. For all this money you want to spend on these parks and things, and you've raised the tax, you're going to raise the taxes, you're going to raise the sewer, you're going to raise the water prices. Now, me, I'm permanently disabled. I had a gasoline tank explode on me, and I got all kind of problems. Now, I'm looking at some medical bills that I ain't gonna be able to pay. Now, I'm not the only elderly or older person in the town of the borough, Hanover Borough. But you keep raising taxes, and then you want money to make the parks better and everything? Where's it coming from? Where are we getting it from? I just heard that Social Security is only going to go up like 3.2, and you know what that is? It's about $50. Medicare goes up 45. That makes me $5 richer. Now, where's $5 richer going to get me? That's what I want to know. Are you thinking about that? How do you want people to come into the Hanover Borough? If you keep raising taxes and the elderly, the poor people, yeah, I'm not poor, but I'm not rich. Now, I've already decided, a doctor tells me I need medicine for $1,000 a month, I'm going to tell him to stick it. I'm going to die. I don't have $1,000 a month. And how am I supposed to? And there's people out there that does, that just are either going without groceries, trying to keep their medicine, or only taking their medicine every other month to be able to live. When you ask these groups to come in here and show you renovations in the borough, and you sit there and you hear these numbers, millions and millions of dollars, and you're thinking, oh, well, we'll just raise taxes, or we'll just charge this, or we'll charge more for this or that. You know, that's why I don't go to a lot of places, because the prices are getting too high. And the elderly people, they can't even, well, like they said, they don't have a computer and stuff like this here. It's a burden to them. I mean, I got Comcast, Xfinity, and you know what my bill is a month? $320. And that's the low package. Now, if I go any lower, the only channels I'm going to get is 821 and all the damn sports packages that they got. And I like the channels that show documentaries, PBS. And if I drop to get a cheaper rate, I don't get none of that stuff. And there ain't a damn thing on TV anymore for the shows and the news. The news is outrageous. 3 hours of news, okay?
Mr. Smith, I think we're understanding what you're saying. We don't, maybe not need all of the examples. Is there anything else?
Well, no, but that leads into things.
Yeah.
Do you consider
Yes.
about the people of the borough?
Yes, we do.
How are you going to get people to come in?
Sir, we consider all of that. I'm just asking you, do you have other points to make?
No, I'm just hoping that you people realize,
Sam?
what's that tax raise going to cost us? The 6.37. How much is that going to raise the taxes for us? Do you know?
I'm sorry, this isn't question and answer. We're here to listen to you. If you would like to have an answer to that question, I'd encourage you to come back and speak to staff during the week.
Well,
They're here tomorrow.
I'm going to leave right now because I'm going to tell you. I've been in here with problems. I've been in here with problems for 24 years, and I still ain't got a damn answer. So, goodbye.
Anyone else in the room? Last thoughts? I will, yes.
Mr. President, thank you. I'm going to thank you for the consideration tonight. I feel like I was actually heard. It doesn't happen. I am going to reinforce that I think there needs to be some more transparency before you take a vote, that people can see on one piece of paper what is going to happen, what is going to be the impact, what are going to be the changes, so that you don't have to go digging through stuff. And I just can't emphasize enough that there's an unfairness to this rate ordinance. There's an unfairness to it. They took the easy pickings, and there's stuff that is not essential service. There's no changes in the fees. Essential services were hammered. The easy pickings of property tax were hammered. But I appreciate your patience in listening. I'm going to emphasize again, the next year, you're not going to be able to say that, nope, you didn't hear any complaints. And I thank you so much for your time. And one final point, I think there need to be consistency in the metrics. This year, they said the assessed property value and based the impacts was $128,000. Last year, they used a property value of $150,000. And it's apples to oranges, and we need consistent metrics and how you're going to evaluate so we get an even keel assessment of what those impacts are, and not picking and choosing one year from the next. And I appreciate your time so much. I know you've been patient. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone online wishing to share?
If you're joining us via Zoom, you can unmute yourself if you'd like to address council. If you're dialing in, *6 will unmute you. Good.
Seeing none, I will close public comment and request a motion for adjournment.
Motion. I'll motion,
I
Bill.
have a motion from Councilor Funk. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Councilor Greenhold. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Question.
We are adjourned. See you next month.